It's gonna be me. It's gonna be chat, and we are reacting to a video from the one, the only, the homie. MMA explain why the UFC is basically the cartel. You know, shoot, they're ran by Hispanics. Is the cartel ran by Hispanics? Is that like is that an exclusively Hispanic thing or no? Or did I make that up? Is the cartel being ran by Hispanics a thing, or did I make that up? Somebody let me know. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? But like, yeah, type shit.
We all know the UFC underpays fighters, especially starting contracts on $10,000 to show, $10,000 to win. But have you ever really asked yourself, why? Maybe they just don't have enough money. For example, at UFC 306, the worst floor seat cost was $12,000. One seat.
That's it? Man, I thought $12,000 was just the price for entry. That's like 4 minutes of my time.
$12,000. That means one chair was worth more than a fighter who showed up, fought, and lost. So why is this happening? One short, one long. The short answer, they don't need to pay more. The long answer, let's break it down. In the 2000s, MMA wasn't just the UFC. There was real competition like Pride in Japan, Strikeforce in the US, WEC, or Elite XC. If you were a fighter back then, you had options. And because you had options, the UFC had to pay more. It wasn't perfect.
Nah, yeah, Now, y'all may not notice, but back then, I was actually a highly ranked UFC fighter. Peep the form. I actually am like dead ass like a legit UFC fighter. Hold on, I got you. So this right here, this is called a jaw kick. What you want to do is you want to use your eyes as a feint. Okay, you want to use your eyes as a feint, and you want your opponent to know what you're doing, but not really.
Yeah.
So
But it wasn't a monopoly. But instead of fighting competition, they did what billionaires always do. They bought the competition. Pride, bought and shut down. Strikeforce, bought and absorbed. WEC, gone. Elite XC, collapsed. And the UFC picked up the pieces. One by one, the options disappeared. And when the dust settled, only Bellator was left standing. At first, Bellator was a solid competitor. They picked up whatever the UFC didn't want anymore, like Rampage Jackson and Chael Sonnen. They had few solid names like Are You Not Entertained?
Are you not entertained?
Patricio Pitbull, Michael Venom Page, Douglas Lima, Shlemenko, and others.
dang, Are You Not Entertained comes from them. I'm not gonna lie. The NBA OD gentrified Are You Not Entertained. They be spamming that in the NBA. Oh shoot. MMA or UFC, you gotta get your get back. I ain't gonna lie.
Bellator wasn't the UFC, but it was real. It kept some pressure on the system. Until it didn't. Over time, Bellator fell apart. Bad business, bad matchmaking, bad leadership. And while Bellator crumbled, the UFC kept rising. The 2010s were the years of McGregor. Massive fights, massive pay-per-views. By the mid-2010s, the UFC wasn't just the biggest promotion. It was the fight game. Everything else just leftovers. Once the competition was gone, everything changed. The UFC didn't have to fight for talent anymore. They owned the talent. If you were a fighter, you had two choices: sign with the UFC or fade into obscurity. Bellator tried to compete for a while, but it never reached the same level. And now Bellator is gone too, bought by the PFL, another so-called option off the table. The UFC became the gatekeeper to fame, to money, to legacy, and when you control everything, you control the prices too. Now, yes, if you're a big name, you're probably getting paid. Adesanya, John Jones, or Paddy Pimblett, you're bringing eyeballs.
I train with Addy. People don't know I call him Addy because as soon as you pop a pill, you feel great. I don't. Addy was one of my greatest students. I actually taught him that like, you know how he messed with anime? That's because of me. I taught him that right hook kick combo. You know what I'm saying? That right hook kick combo. That's me and Addy. Me and Addy, yo, my knee dead hurts from the kick earlier. I know I got up and stuff. This shit hurt. I ain't gonna lie. My knee dead stinging a little bit.
You're moving numbers. You're valuable. And for those guys, the UFC cuts bigger checks, as they should. But for the rest, for the guys trying to break through, the starting pay is the same garbage.
What's his favorite anime? Naruto, bro. Come on, that's easy.
Been for over a decade, 10 and 10, since at least 2010, and the $50,000 bonus, same as it was back in the Brock Lesnar days. Meanwhile, the UFC's business exploded. The pay-per-view prices went up, the gate numbers tripled, and Dana White can't stop talking about how he's breaking all the gate records.
The gate was 11.5 million.
Comment. Hold on. Hold on. 9:37. You're in a full stream. You're halfway through a video and I see Joe Rogan on your screen. Nah, I was or Dana White.
UFC now holds number 1, 2, and 3 highest gate record of all time at the Kaseya Center.
The UFC is making 10 times what they were in 2010. But fighters at the bottom, they're stuck at 10 and 10. Maybe you can live with the fact that the UFC is a business first. But the one thing that shouldn't slip through the cracks is the starting contract. 10 plus 10 is disgusting. It's criminal. Let's do the math. You fight for 10 and 10, you lose. You only get 10. You pay taxes, now you're at 7. You pay your trainer and your manager, you're left with 4, maybe 5. $4,000 for months of training. Weight cuts, brain damage. Honestly, it's literally better to beg on the street than to lose a UFC fight. It's not just about low pay.
You're actually not supposed to massage the spine. So pro tip, whenever you're massaging a girl, you're not supposed to touch their spine because that could actually get their spine out of alignment. It's actually way better for their back, even though if it might feel worse.
So you're telling me
you're supposed to massage everywhere around it, but the actual spine part you're not supposed to touch.
So I almost broke your back.
You almost broke my back. My finger.
Oh shit, my fault.
This nigga.
It's about control. The UFC controls everything. Who you fight, when you fight, what you get paid, and
Stanley,
what sponsors.
who is this guy? It's just some homeless nigga I let in my house every once in a while. You know what I'm saying? I like to give back to the community. So every once in a while I pick a homeless dude off the street. And I just kind of like, I want to do what God has instilled me the power to do, which is like help the less fortunate and the needy. If anybody has any contact information with his family, please help him, because
I said, hey, yo!
Their sad music playing in the background.
Man, I could give a fuck about what this nigga's saying. I'm really assisting you, man. I'll really hop up in this bitch and warm up. I got hella bread, but you resistant to bans.
You said I'm resistance to ban. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. That shit was kind of whack, because why would I ever be resistance to bans because I know that I could up this on a man because I stay strapped.
Yeah.
Advanced strap, but strap.
Strap.
Yeah. Okay.
Type shit.
You're allowed to have. You want to wear your own sponsor in the cage? Nope. Only UFC approved logos. And guess who gets the check? Not you. Remember when fighters could earn real sponsor money? 5 figures, 6 figures. Now they get a tiered bonus based on how many UFC fights they've had. And it's not just sponsors. The UFC controls pay-per-view money too. You'd think if you're a champion, you got, let's say, $2 per pay-per-view buy, and your fight sells 1 million pay-per-views, $2 million, right? Nope. Here's how it actually works. From 0 to 500,000 buys, you only get $1 per buy. From 500,000 to 750,000, you get $1.50. Only after that, from 750 to 1 million, you get $2 per buy. So instead of getting $2 million, you get $1,375,000. So even if you sell out the arena, you're still getting scaled percentages like it's a phone data plan. And here's the thing, you can't complain.
Capitalism is straight garbo, no cap fits, but also it also has great points in it. The thing is, I don't know who I was talking to the other day. I think it was actually Yo-Yo. Because I don't necessarily know a lot about capitalism or socialism, or if that's what they're called. But I think the thing that sucks about them is when you go to the far aspects, the super duper, what's the word that I'm looking for here? When somebody's, were you just standing on my couch? Don't stand on my couch. What's the word that's called when somebody's like super leaning in one direction?
Goddamn.
Like
extreme.
Extreme. There you go. Thank you so much. Sorry. When anybody's extremely leaning in any direction, I feel like that's when things don't work. Because I'm not gonna lie, the fact that I'm able to eat smothered chicken in an orange sauce, fried crispy, along with fried eggs and green onions on top of rice with grilled teriyaki sauce from Asia, cut into small pieces from chickens made out in Cancun for $4 is amazing. And that's just Panda Express. And that is a byproduct of capitalism. But that doesn't mean that only capitalism works. There is some socialism aspects that also works in all the other market aspects. Like, what's the other one?
I'm bored as fuck.
So yeah, shout out that though.
You can't speak out because if you do, you might never get booked again. This isn't just about fighter pay or sponsorships or contracts. It's about how the business is structured. The UFC isn't just a fight promotion. It's the center of the MMA world. Now, if you want to be seen as the best, you fight in the UFC. Simple as that. The UFC decides who gets signed, who gets pushed, who gets paid. You don't negotiate like a free agent. You accept what's on the table or you don't fight. And most fighters can't afford to walk away because there's nowhere else to go. That's just what happens when one company becomes the market. The UFC built that dominance. They earned it, but it also means they don't have to share much.
Today, I'm working with Topps and giving away a prize pack of trading cards worth over $5,000.
Maybe this is just how the fight business works.
If you don't like it, there's a simple solution to this problem. Go start your own MMA organization. No barrier to entry. Knock yourself out. Pay them whatever you want to pay them.
But if you're a fighter entering that system, you should know exactly what you're signing up for.
Hey man, shout out to UFC.
We all know
that is actually a gigantic problem. I thought there was things in place to make sure structurally monopolies like this aren't in place, but maybe that's only against corporations and not actual peoples and employees. But if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you comment twice. It helps me in the algo. I'll see y'all in the next video. Goodbye. Peace.